Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is my third Inktober video and it's a couple of days late. That was an executive decision. I had to postpone a few things, like doing Sunday's piece on Monday and delaying the edits and the publishing of this video because I had a book release happening on Sunday actually. So there was a lot of work to take care of and it had to take precedence. Now onto this piece. This is day 9 and the prompt was swing, and I had this idea of a boy in a swing trying to get as high as he could and looking at the sky, and I found an interesting reference. And because the shadow was mostly dark with just a little bit of semi-shadow on his hands, on his arms, sorry, where he was wearing a white t-shirt, I thought it would look great as a solid black figure and then the clouds floating by. This is one of my favorite Inktober pieces and I had a great time painting it. It was fairly quick to ink because the sketch took me a while. I'm still not that great with human figures, but you know, this worked. I think I got it close enough to the reference. And I don't know, whenever I look at it, it just makes me very, very happy, which I guess is the point for these pieces, to enjoy while I'm making and be happy about the experience and learn things, because let's face it, they're not close to being masterpieces. Some turned out better than others and I'm super delighted for that. And overall I'm having a great Inktober and I'm learning a lot, and the point of this was to improve, so I'm doing that because, you know, still quite the noob, and that's not going to change overnight. I think this was the piece where the washes worked best for me. They don't always go the way I'd want them, but you know, I'm trying, and I don't have enough experience with ink, to be honest, but hey, as you can see, lots of coffee usually helps. And yeah, overall I think no matter what else I'm doing this Inktober, this will still be one of my favorite pieces. I don't know, there's just something about the pose and where he's looking and how much fun I imagine him having that it makes this one of my absolute favorites. That said, ink is definitely not fun to clean. And if you're wondering about the weird angle, I tried quite a few because when I work just with black on white paper, for some reason my camera doesn't want to focus. This is a really strange angle. I wanted to go as close as I could, and yeah, this is the day 10 prompt for pattern. I had this idea of a bed and its headboard and a ghosty wallpaper, and making the wallpaper solid black so that the white ghosties would stand out. And on that frame I wanted to place a sort of an abstract piece, which kind of worked and kind of didn't. But yeah, I wanted this to be the main pattern, and I wanted to have patterns on everything else, like the headboard of the bed has a certain pattern and the pillows have one as well. So this piece took a lot of time, but at least, hey, my camera focused, although the angle is awkward and it keeps being awkward. I'm still not sure exactly how to film this, because for the first couple of videos I had a really top-down perfect view, but for some reason my camera would not focus and I had to turn the autofocus off, and I felt they looked kind of blurry. It started doing this later on, not for these videos, but you know, I still have a way to go until I figure out how to film this and how exactly to position my camera so that I get the best view I can. Until then, I hope you don't hate it too much. I'll try to improve it every time. So yeah, as you can see, even sped up, this took forever. So just the inking took a little over an hour and the sketching took like 25 minutes, I think. And honestly, that's been the average for each of these pieces. I think the swing one was quicker. It was under an hour for the sketch and the inking. But most days I spent about an hour and a half on these, or an hour if I'm really lucky. And the sketch turns out well on the first couple of tries, which is not always the case. So this bit about painting around the ghosties, that was the most time-consuming one. So I kind of cut parts of it. You won't see the entire process because, you know, kind of boring, but you'll see most of it just so you can see me struggle. By the way, this watercolor brush, sorry, is quite good. I like it because it holds a lot of water and it's fun. The problem with it, and why I switched it to ink and I rarely use it outside of Inktober, is because it sheds like a lot, and that's annoying. But it did a great job. I thought I'd need a detail brush. I actually had one right next to my mixed media pad, but this worked just fine. It comes to a very fine point, and that helped. But I think only this bit took like half an hour. I don't know. It was difficult, and somehow I managed not to smudge any of it. I don't know how. I think it's a Christmas miracle a few months too early. But yeah, I was completely in awe, because as you'll see on later pieces, I do mess up a lot, and there's generally ink everywhere on my hands. Like, I have to just pick something up and I'll get dirty like in no time, and then it won't come off, and I have to struggle quite a lot to clean up. But hey, that's just me. Like, I always do that. Even if I take out a pen to just write 3 lines on a piece of paper, I'll somehow get the ink all over my hands. It's a special talent I have. Not a marketable skill, but still a talent. So I guess that counts for something. So the piece in the end didn't turn out exactly as I wanted it to. I wanted the headboard to be a very pale gray. I wanted more contrast within the actual abstract painting, and I don't think I got as much as I wanted. I mean, I know for sure. But overall, I liked this. I kind of want that wallpaper, and I like that I managed to make the headboard look kind of well used and old in the end. Just an FYI, it was pretty much by accident. I was trying to do something else, but then it got this weird vibe as if it was covered in like faux velvet, and it was old and worn off. Not sure how I did this, if I ever want to replicate it, but hey, it had an interesting look, like it's an older house, but it has really cool wallpaper and abstract paintings that kind of give it a creepy Halloweeny vibe, I guess. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it makes me happy, even if it didn't turn out to be exactly what I wanted it to. But yeah, I'm almost done with it. I hope you enjoy it. It was the only thing I could think of for pattern, honestly. And I know a lot of people talked about this, but the prompts are not exactly easy, and sometimes I'm just spending like a full hour just trying to figure out what the hell I'm drawing for them, because it has to be something that's doable for me, because my skills are not at a high enough level that I can do anything. But this one came quite easily. The moment I saw pattern, I thought of the wallpaper, and then the bed was just an extra idea for me to frame it. Now we're moving on to day 11. The prompt was snow, and this is one of the illustrations that just makes me smile a lot when I think about them. So snow was one of the prompts that had me completely blocked. Like, I had no idea. My mind was frozen and probably from all that snow, and I just couldn't come up with a solution, and I was just racking my brain to come up with something. And then I thought, what about mountaintops? They're always covered in snow. And then I thought of a very famous mountain, and that's Mount Fuji. And yeah, why not draw Fujisan? And because it's, you know, a Japanese mountain, I thought some cherry blossoms would be great, but doing them in pure black with just a little white left in the middle for the highlight, and have like a circle around part of the mountain for contrast. And then later on I thought the circle itself just on its own didn't look that great, so you'll see me adding mountains to it, and I made them kind of scribbly with my gel pen, and I kind of really like the look of it. Honestly, I think that kind of brought the picture together. I don't know, it just did something to its style. This was relatively quick to do. I paid for it the next day when it took me forever. Well, the next day after a break, when I did the 2 pieces for day 12 and 13, sorry. I can't count apparently, or keep track of which prompt we're on. So this is day 11, snow, like I said. I had fun with the washes here. I think they kind of turned out to be what I wanted them to, which was surprising because don't exactly master ink. It's the first time I actually play with it, because last year I decided to do Inktober kind of late in the game. I had no idea what I was really doing, and I had no proper inks to use. I bought everything I'm using now post Inktober and then never used them, obviously. I mean, I did use the ink and the dip pen once for a piece that I wanted to do in ink outlines and then add watercolors on top. So yeah, this turned out a lot better than expected, and I kept showing it to my boyfriend and screaming Fujisan at the top of my lungs for some reason. I never said I wasn't weird and slightly crazy. If you thought that about me, it was the wrong assumption to make. Like, in case I didn't point that out enough, I'm an author. I have imaginary people in my head that come up with scenes and stories, and then I write all about them. And you know, that's what I do for a living. I'm not exactly normal and not weird. So yeah, I added stars at the end, and I think that made it look super nice, and I totally loved it. And after this, on the next prompt, I tried something completely different, which you'll see in a moment. The prompt was dragon. It's the one I had to skip and delay for a day. So on Monday I did 2 prompts. Or was it Sunday? No, Monday, yeah. Because Sunday was a book release. By the way, if you're curious, I released the prequel for my cozy mystery series. My protagonist is an artist who draws in manga style and gets a lot of flack for it because her father is a very well-known fine art painter. So yeah, she gets dragged into a murder investigation while she's at home in a small town called Riverbrook. And the prequel just shows you her life before returning home, right before. It's pretty much what caused her to run from New York City to a small town she hated and never wanted to be there. So yeah, I released the prequel. It's a novella, and then the first book in the series is scheduled to release on October 25. So 25th. What? I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine. You're probably used to me by now. So yeah, this dragon here is kind of loosely based on a dragon from a short story I've written for a charity anthology. It was for sale for like 3 months. It contained only gay romance stories. Mine was fantasy romance, and all the money we made from selling that anthology went to the Trevor Project. I'm really proud of that. It was a nice way to, you know, share a lot of great stories from a lot of LGBT authors and also donate to a good cause. So yeah, the dragon in question is called Cyan, which will inform the colors I picked later. And he's a sort of a dragon shifter, so he has a human form. He's taken prisoner and dragged to a kingdom he doesn't know much about, and he's treated poorly. And by the way, those are some cheapo water-based brush markers that I got when I started bullet journaling, so that was about 1.5 years ago. And they're pretty okay. They're not great. They're not alcohol markers, and they're not great, and I don't know how to use them with water because I haven't really tried it. But I tried to get colors that would portray Cyan well. He does turn into a big cyan dragon, well, tones and hues and whatever. There's a lot of blues in there. And yeah, I had fun doing this, sort of. He turned out a bit cartoonish, not as realistic as I would have wished for him to be. But hey, this is only my second dragon, and this one I didn't have a clear reference for. I just had to mash up a lot of things I've seen and try to come up with something that would suit what I'd written. The other dragon was done completely out of a reference, and it was to depict one of the D&D characters that my boyfriend plays. He plays a sort of dragon, sort of priest, definitely with a drinking problem. So yeah, I was kind of pleased with him. It wasn't exactly what I wanted because I am hoping to be able to design a realistic dragon at some point and put it on a cover. But let's face it, I'm still well away from that. But at the end of the day, it was nice experimenting with these brush markers. It was less of a disaster than I thought it would be, but it wasn't perfect either. I had a lot of issues trying to blend them because getting them on that palette and then adding water kind of watered them down too much. But if I put them directly on the paper, they wouldn't blend that well. But at the end of the day, I think he turned out rather nicely. I did add some gold to his eye to be true to the character, and that was about it. I hope you've enjoyed this video and these 4 prompts. I will be back with 4 more prompts soon, and I hope you're all having a great Inktober. If you want to stay up to date with my progress, please subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this video, like it and comment down below and tell me how your Inktober is going. That's it for now. Bye!